Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my Week 1 NFL predictions, also known as the most unpredictable week of the NFL season. This is a week where we are all gonna feel so right and end up being so wrong so many times. Couple of plugs before we hop right into it. Don't forget to use code Wyatts World on G Fuel or Prize Picks, where you can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products or guarantee yourself to win a free $50 with your first $5 lineup after using code Wyatts World at sign up on Prize Picks.
Also, don't forget about the Caleb Williams free square going on for this weekend. All he needs is one passing yard for that entry to win. But that's all I've got for plugs. Let's get into my Week 1 NFL predictions.
So, starting off with Thursday Night Football, we have got the Ravens at the Chiefs. Just to come right out and say it with the score, I think Kansas City wins in a thriller 28-27. I seriously think the home crowd is going to play a heavy factor into this, potentially causing a miscue for Baltimore, and that's all it's going to take. These are two of the top teams in the NFL right now. No matter the outcome for either team, neither will come out of this game looking bad unless they somehow get blown out. I do have a unique prediction for Baltimore, though. You ready for this? I don't think Derrick Henry scores a single rushing touchdown this game. However, I think Lamar is going to have at least two. I think when they get in the red zone, all eyes are going to be on Derrick Henry, and a little bit too much to the point where Baltimore is going to see a pretty big opportunity. My pick for the game, though, Kansas City. All right, moving on to Friday Night Football in Brazil. We have the Packers playing the Eagles, and I think the Eagles are technically the home team here as well. Either way, I'm going to pick the Eagles to win this game 20-17. To me, at this moment, the Eagles are the better team, and logically, you're going to think the better team is going to win the game. I know Bradbury is going to be out, and that could get them in trouble, especially with Christian Watson, but even if that does happen, Philadelphia's got the offense to keep up with anybody. It'll be a close battle, but I think in the end, Green Bay is going to narrowly fall behind, and I am sorry, I love you, Jordan Love. All right, and now we are moving on to the Sunday noon slate, kicking off with the Steelers at the Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to win this game 23-14. For one, the Steelers are starting Russell Wilson, who gives me about as much fire as a wet match. And for two, Atlanta now has the offense to quote-unquote hit them where they ain't. Shout out to Rod Carew, but what that means is they can hit them from any damn direction. I do think Kirk will start slow. He's got to shake off a little bit of rust. It's going to be close for the first half, but Atlanta's going to pull away and start their road to the playoffs, so I don't have to go there and get my ass beat. And that will take us to the Cardinals at the Bills. The only thing I can think about going into this game is how epic of a start to a career it could be for Marvin Harrison Jr. to take part in a Hail Murray Part 2. Oh, fuck the horror stories, the red tape. I'm gonna go with my boys to win this 24-21. Now, I definitely can see it being close. I expect Kyler to burn us with his legs, and I also expect Josh Allen to burn them with Dalton Kincaid. Now, obviously, I think Josh is gonna burn him with his legs as well, but I brought out Kincaid because I want to highlight that I think he's gonna have 10 receptions this game. I think this is where he is going to start to emerge as the next guy. He's got the talent, he just needs the workload. Also would like to point out the fact that I have like 3 Cardinals in my fantasy lineup, so like this is already hell. I already wish I wasn't playing. Fuck fantasy, dude. Now moving on, we got the Tennessee Titans at the Chicago Bears. Now Tennessee fans, don't hate me. You know I love you guys. You know I have high praise for you guys, but it's week 1. I think home field advantage is going to play a massive factor for a lot of these games if you can't already tell. And I think the Bears are going to start off with a 20-13 win. Now I would like to say I think this game is going to be more entertaining to watch than the final box score shows because I expect both offenses to make splashes, but we also cannot expect both offenses to be completely flawless, especially not Tennessee. Both of these offenses will stall at one point or another. Both of their defenses will probably make plays. And again, to recirculate back on the home field advantage, I think the crowd is going to be loud enough, noisy enough to cause miscommunications, disruptions for Tennessee. And in the end, it will help keep Chicago ahead to secure the W. Next game we got is the Patriots at the Bengals. You guys ready for my upset of the week? Well, too bad, because this ain't it. Bengals are going to win this game 30-10. Look, the Patriots are going to do one of two things. They're going to prove everybody right and lay down and die, or they are going to shockingly compete and everybody's going to go, what in the hell?
Now, I'm not going to lie, I don't think that second option is likely at all, especially this week. This is on the road versus Cincinnati, a very good team already. Plus, they're starting Jacoby Brissett, which no disrespect to him, but he doesn't motivate a single soul on that roster. And I'm pretty sure the only reason they're throwing him out instead of Drake May is so people don't just call Drake May shit when the Patriots get bulldozed. I would like to say I think Christian Gonzalez picks off Joe Burrow once, though, because Joe Burrow is a pick machine at the start of every year, and Gonzalez, I think, is going to be a great player. All right, now moving on, we have the Texans going into Indianapolis, where I finally have an away team winning. Congratulations, Houston. Totally honest here, I think the Houston Texans dominate the Colts 27-17, with one of the Colts' touchdowns coming in garbage time. I don't think Anthony Richardson's gonna be able to throw this game. I think it's gonna be a fucking nightmare for him. I mean, not only is the secondary looking spicy, but you're also gonna have the pressure of the D-line, where even if they are missing Will Anderson, you're still gonna have to deal with Danielle Hunter. Oh, and also I've completely left out the fact that Anthony Richardson, as much as I love the guy, might be more inaccurate than Joe fucking Milton. I think the game can start off potentially close with Jonathan Taylor driving them down the field, but when they fall far enough behind where they have to start throwing, Indy is gonna completely fall apart. Now moving on, we have Jacksonville at Miami, and I really wanted to pick Jacksonville to win this one, but I couldn't do it. I'm picking the Dolphins to win this 28-23. I do worry about Miami's O-line, but if Tua can get the ball out quick enough, they have the receivers to be able to take off and burn Jacksonville to a crisp. Also, looking at Miami, it's encouraging to see that majority of their defensive stars who were labeled as questionable are probably going to be playing. I think Jacksonville's a good team. I think their defense will bully Miami around at times, but I do worry about Jacksonville's offense being ready to fire right away, because again, this team is dealing with new receivers, new weapons, and it's almost expected for Trevor to maybe take a quarter or even a half to really snap into it with these guys. Miami takes it. Now moving on, we have Carolina at the Saints, and I really wanted to pick this as my upset, but I really got to see it to believe it. I think the Saints win by a small margin, 20-17. And this game is also going to start off so slow that half the viewers fall asleep on their couch before halftime when it eventually picks up. I think both defenses are going to play tough, and I think both offenses are going to struggle to find rhythm, but in the end, the offense with the more effective running back, who in my opinion right now is Alvin Kamara, will come out on top. I also just think Kamara is going to be a really effective player in both fantasy and real life this year too, just because the Saints have said they are switching him to a role where not only is he going to be a running back, but certain plays he will flat out line up as a receiver. I mean, for a guy who's getting older and definitely towards the end of his prime, they are really trying to get the absolute best out of Alvin Kamara. All right, next game we got is the Vikings at the Giants, where I think the Vikings win 21-10, and I predict Sam Darnold has a pretty good game where people hype him up only for him to completely shit the bed in week 2. Like I mentioned yesterday, the Vikings have a chance if their quarterback play is good. And I mean a chance at the season. But back to this week, both of these teams have talented defenses. However, looking at their offenses, even with Sam Darnold, even with Matt Corral, I would still take Minnesota's by a mile. Again, I can see this game having, a slow start, but at the end, KOC is going to wear down the Giants defense to the point where the Vikings are going to be able to walk right out with the win. Also, I forgot to mention, this is going to be my dad's pick of the week. So before we move on to the next game, why don't we find out who my dad thinks is going to win this game?
Hello, Wyatts World Junkies. It's Wyatts Dad back for another season of picks. Last year I was 15-3. I want to try and improve on that record this year. So for week 1, I'm going to pick the Vikings in this game, or the Vikings game, because it'll probably be one of the only chances in the first 5-6 weeks that we actually have to win. So Minnesota travels to New York to play the Giants. The Vikings offense with Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson, receiver, along with Jordan Addison. Watch out for a guy named Jalen Naylor. If he stays healthy, he's very fast. Then we got Aaron Jones at running back. The Vikings offensive line, decent, but not as good, I don't think, as everybody is putting them to be or making them to be. Going against that Giants defense with, I think it's Dexter Lawrence, the big nose tackle, might give us some trouble. The issue for the Giants is a secondary that's really young, so I think Minnesota's going to move the ball on the Giants. Might take some draws and screens to loosen them up. Going the other way, you got the Giants offense with Malik Neighbors, I think, is their new wide receiver, early pick, and then Daniel Jones, who has yet to prove himself. Of course, he had the one big game against the Vikings. And then their offensive line is a little bit leaky, and that's where the difference may be. I think that Brian Flores has the tools he needs now. It'll be interesting to see what kind of a defense he runs. I like Minnesota to win 23-13. All you Wyatts World Junkies, have a good week.
All right, now moving on, we have the Raiders at the Chargers, where I think the Chargers bully their way to a pretty boring victory, 17-14. If the Chargers can cover Devontae Adams, they will win the game because Gardner Minshew is going to target him like 56 times. I think Harbaugh will get that under control, eliminating, the real threat coming out of the Raiders. As of now, we still don't know about Bowers. And when it comes to the Los Angeles offense, my only real concern there is if they can buy enough time to get the ball out and consistently move down the field with a pretty heavy D-line running at them. I think Jim's going to find a way, and Vegas is going to start off with a big fat L. Now moving on, we have the Broncos at the Seahawks, and this is one I kind of wanted to pick as an upset, but I can't do it. I got to go with Seattle here, 26-20. However, I am going to tell you right now, the Denver Broncos will surprise people. They're going to compete, they're going to throw up points, but they're not the better team in my eyes right now, which means I don't think they're going to win. With Seattle's offensive weapons, they should be able to move down the field and score with relative ease, enough to keep them ahead the entire time, enough to get them the win. But back on Denver, I would like to give a shout out to Pat Surtain, because that man just got a contract for 4 years and $96 million. And if I read correctly, that makes him the highest paid DB in NFL history, which I think is deserved because he is the CB1. So good for you. Get that bag, Pat. Now moving on, we have the Cowboys at the Browns, and apparently this is my upset of the week because the page I'm looking at has the Browns as favorites. I think the Cowboys win 14-10 in an absolute snoozer. Neither team is going to be able to run the ball, and both teams have very sticky secondaries. I think at the end of the day, the better quarterback will win here, and without a doubt, that is Rain Dakota Prescott IV. Upset! Now we've got the Commanders at the Bucks. Tampa Bay wins 23-14. I expect 40 attempts from Baker, minimum. Look, Rachaad White, he isn't the best runner. Like, everybody knows that he is not very productive, but he can catch the ball. Therefore, more times than none, when they want to get him involved, I think that's the route they're going to take, opposed to sending him right up the chute. As for Washington, I think they're going to fight, but I'm worried about Jaden in his first game, and I'm worried about his confidence of throwing the ball down the middle of the field. Also, I think Jaden will run all over Tampa Bay until he gets a pop from Antoine Winfield Jr. that says, hey buddy, you do that again, you're going on the IR. I think Tampa's gonna crush him. And that'll bring us to Sunday Night Football, where we've got the Rams taking on the Lions. I think the Lions set the tone right here with the victory, 33-27. I think this game is going to be a shootout, but it's also going to be a fantastic example of just how deadly Detroit can be with Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, the running backs, Laporta, St. Brown. I can also see Detroit's defense coming with some aggression and potentially making a few plays or causing a few disruptions. But with that being said, even if Stafford does go out there and throw 1, 2, 3 picks, which he probably won't, he's still going to throw over 300 yards, and you can take that to the bank. This is going to be a great game to watch, and I think the Lions are going to start off with a bang. And ending with Monday Night Football, we've got the Jets at the 49ers. 49ers win 21-17. Both defenses are great. Both offenses have a ton of gas. Well, should have a ton of gas. But when it comes down to it, I think San Fran will have more power in New York. Like I have previously mentioned, I worry a little bit about Rodgers having his first live game against a raging, pissed-off 49ers team. Also, you got to imagine New York is really wishing Hassan Reddick would just play. I think it'll be competitive. It'll be close. Rodgers will come to life around the second half and bring them back into the game, but I expect it to start as kind of a beatdown on the Jets. Either way, 49ers win. And that is going to do it for my Week 1 NFL predictions, everybody. I hope you guys like this video and you're ready for another season of NFL picks. If you guys like this video and you want to show any support, you guys already know what to do, and you know I appreciate any and all help. However, in the meantime, I'm going to hop off and get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday, and as always, I will see you in the next upload.